Welcome once again, and thanks for tuning in to SM Dotson's Strange Tales. Today we're talking about exorcism and possession. Exorcism and possession. Usually people assume that possession refers to demon possession. But there are religions and beliefs that hold to the idea that it's not always a demon who does the possessing. And when this, let's call it evil spirit, we'll get into that more in this episode. But it's believed that this evil spirit can be banished by an exorcist. And this exists in many parts of the world, ancient history and in modern history, that one is possessed by a spirit of some sort, a demon or not, and someone comes along, a shaman or a priest of some sort, and performs an exorcism. We see this in Mongolia, you see it in Tibet, you see it in Hinduism, you see it in Judaism, you see it in Islam, you see exorcism and possession in many major religions. Taoism. The list goes on and on. And they don't all believe that it's the same thing. And they don't all use the same rituals, but there are a lot of similarities as well. So we'll get into that, but we'll really start off talking about the Christian view of exorcism and possession. So the classical Western view that there are demons that do the possessing, not, say, something else. And in this particular episode, I'll also do some readings from Gothic fiction works that involve possession and exorcism. Unfortunately, right now, I'm not able to see what people are typing in the chat line, but definitely type in the chat line and have conversations. I'm going to, as soon as I can, figure out how to monitor the chat line and talk with you guys while I'm live. It's just that if I get on there now, then there's going to be a lot of skipping. There's going to be a lot of audio and visual interference, so it doesn't allow me to stream very well to get on to a chat line and that sort of thing. So if you have any suggestions, let me know in the comment section once this is finished. The comments do actually stay around, so that's a good thing. When I was doing research earlier on the idea of demon possession with Christianity, oftentimes people think of the story that took place in reference to Legion. Legion is not one demon, but several demons. And Legion had possessed a man who basically went wild and perhaps even violent and inflicted self-harm because he was possessed by these many demons. And Jesus came along and cast out the demons, and the demons recognized Jesus, and he cast them out into swine, and then the swine ran into the water and died. But I think it's interesting in this case that where Jesus found this possessed man was not in the city, not in the countryside, not in a Gothic cathedral, because they didn't exist yet. But where did he find them? In a graveyard. Graveyards in some places, and in some places in the ancient world, could be a place for outcasts to hang around in, but it also brings in the idea that the dead perhaps have something to do with demon possession, maybe. I don't know, just a theory. Something I thought about when I wrote Possessions of Putrescence. You know, in Christianity and other religions, there's obviously more going on than a simple demon possession. It would be more complex than that if it's a real thing. Now, I'll have to admit I'm not religious, and I don't necessarily believe in classical demonic possession by any means, but I do believe that it's actually a phenomenon that exists. In other words, there are actually people who claim to be possessed, and there are exorcists who go about, and there are many every year of people who claim to be possessed, and priests who perform the exorcism ritual, the exorcismus, the exorcism ritual to banish a demon. I mean, that's still going on. It's not merely ancient. It's not simply medieval. It's still happening. Although many historians say that reports of possession and exorcism have decreased greatly because of the Enlightenment, we do actually see an increase in cases of alleged demon possession and performed exorcisms when the culture is more aware of what you might say more afraid of demons, or if it's more present in the collective consciousness, there tend to be more demonic possessions reported. And so we see a great cultural impact happen around the mid-70s when the film The Exorcist is released. And I saw the movie when I was 13, and it definitely affected me, and other people I knew as well. It was an impactful film. Of course, back then I was very young when I first saw it. When I saw it when I was 13, and I believed that demons existed at that point. I believed it, and I was afraid of them. And because I had looked into it at age 13, age 14, because I had read about it and researched it, and in particular Christian views of demon possession, I was aware that demons tend to possess the young more than older people. I mean, that's something that if you look into it, even very briefly, you'll discover that the young tend to be possessed. Youth, children, tend to be possessed more than adults. I think that's very interesting. It's very interesting. And when I was 13, yes, I was afraid. I was afraid. Not just because of the movie The Exorcist, although it helped greatly, but because of the religion I belonged to at the time as well. So even to this day, I find it a fascinating topic. But I find it fascinating looking at it from a historical worldview, looking at all the different versions and theories of possession and exorcism through time, and seeing commonalities and where they differ. One commonality that is fundamental to this conversation is the commonality of religion. I mean, really, where do you find in the history of Homo sapiens, wherever you look, you find religion? It's really hard to debate that. It's really hard to look at any one society, even if it's a so-called secular society. You really peel back the layers and you see that there are many religious people in it. Now, of course, there are places in Europe who are somewhat more secular, and there's a good percentage of people who say don't believe in religion. But it's the norm for humans to have some sort of religious view. Sometimes it's not a big institutional church religion sort of institution, but it's, say, a native or family or folk religion, which is really the word pagan. Paganus comes from the Latin, which means the countryside. So it's referring to folk religion. But really, wherever you look, there is religion. So therefore, a good percentage of those religious people, and to be religious, I imagine to a lesser or greater degree, you have to embrace superstition and encounter fears and worries and the idea of evil forces manifesting themselves through what you might say, spiritual or magical ways. There's room for those ideas to exist in religion, quite a bit of room, especially if you believe in the idea of demons or evil spirits or ghosts who can be malignant. And once that happens, then every once in a while someone gets possessed and a priest or monk is called upon to recite a prayer and perform an exorcism, and through time the ritual of exorcism becomes a standard practice. And in many cases, like you look in Europe, even before Christianity, there was a form of possession and exorcism in Nordic religion. And so you see a continuum throughout religions, through time. It's not just one religion that has possession and exorcism, but their theories on them differ. And of course, Christianity, with the idea of possession, they're going to say it's a demon almost every time. And of course, you get this with early Christianity, especially in the Roman Empire. They, with Emperor Theodosius, public pagan practices became illegal. Christianity was already the state religion under Theodosius. Theodosius made it the official state religion, from what I understand, and what historians believe. And Theodosius actually basically began the, for lack of a better term, witch hunt on paganism, pagan practices, basically anything other than Christianity. So Christians have a habit of demonizing the idea of spirits. If there's a spirit, somebody's taken in by a spirit, well, it's automatically a demon. Or if you refer to an old god, ancient Christians oftentimes would not deny the existence of a different god, as much as say, it's not a god, it's a demon, and you're worshiping that demon. And sort of that practice, that mentality, still exists today. So if somebody's possessed, every time, Protestant, Catholic, whatever, they're not going to call it a evil spirit other than a demon, a fallen angel, a minion of Satan, a demon. And they're not going to call it ghost. Or they're not going to call it, an angry spirit who can be appeased and therefore set free. And so the spirit isn't angry anymore. No, that demon is inherently evil. So anytime there's a possession, it's in some ways made worse, because if that person really believes they're possessed, then there's no way out for them. This being inside them is purely evil, and when the symptoms disappear, the demon disappears, And if the symptoms are still there, then that evil is still present in their body. You see how that works? So it's not always good to demonize things. But hey, if that's your game, then, that's what most people do who belong to, organized religion under the Christianity banner. They demonize non-Christian things. So I suppose that's to be expected. So we'll talk about that more, but let's talk about what do we have up first here? This whole idea, the whole spiel that I just spouted is basically what I've been thinking of for quite a while, and that sort of idea of possession, challenging the norm of possession and taking more of a historical worldview instead of a localized Christian view. If you're raised in a Christian environment, you tend to think of possession as in a certain light. And I came up with a storyline based on that fundamental allegory almost. Like, what if we were wrong and we're actually doing some damage somehow? Not just to the possessed child, but perhaps what really is that spirit that we're demonizing? Are we making their experience more tumultuous? What if it's actually a ghost, a spirit, a deceased person who's very confused and angry about something? And maybe they can be sort of appeased. Now, there are many religions, well, I don't know if I can say many, but there are a good amount of religions who do not believe it's a demon, but a spirit who can be appeased. And if the spirit is purely evil, well, you just need to get rid of them. But many spirits, some of these various religions other than Christianity believe, other than Judaism, other than Islam, they have room for the idea of a spirit who can be appeased. I think that's very interesting. And so I began writing a story called Possessions of Putrescence that takes place in the late 19th century. And even though my Gothic fiction writings take place later and don't have such a strong Christian theme, this particular book, Possessions of Putrescence, deals with the conflict the main character has, Martin Salzburg. He's an exorcist. But what he discovered during the grim rounds when he was after seminary, he traveled around to various colonies, and he realized that not everybody believes it's a demon, and he finds out that religion forbids exorcists, a Christian religion forbids exorcists to think of the alien spirit as anything but a demon, to demonize a ghost, as he calls it. He says Christianity demonizes the ghost, and he found that through a method of dialogue with the ghost, he can find out, he can basically help that ghost reach actualization. If it's willing, if it's malignant and evil, there are certain things you can do, but you can have a suke therapy, he calls it. Suke is, of course, the Greek word for the soul. It can also be for breath of life, but it's something Freud used that word for psychotherapy. But I use it closer to the Greek, suke therapy. And so, of course, I chose suke therapy because it's so similar to what Freud did just a couple decades after Possessions of Putrescence takes place. So it was a intentional parody on my part to parody psychotherapy and call it suke therapy, but it really has to do with dialogue with a maladjusted ghost who doesn't really know it's dead or still is holding on to some emotional loop that it's on. And so, when you question things, you can become excited about breaking out of conventional views, and this story is kind of, is based on that idea. And so, let me show you guys the synopsis. And this is a recording of the synopsis of Possessions of Putrescence. And takes place in the late 19th century.
Possessions of Putrescence by S.M. Dotson. Martin Salzburg, the town exorcist, has developed a strange theory regarding demon possession, too revolutionary to share with fellow Christians. In the small town of Putrescence, Martin discovers a local legend that takes him on a journey to find the ghost of Seymour Downcross, and to discover why the centuries-old villain is using an orphanage for his occult endeavors.
There we are. Thanks for checking that out. Possessions of Putrescence. I'm in the editing process of that, and when I've finished with the editing, then you actually send it off to professional editors, and that's something like all professional authors do. Is there's a sort of a finishing editor or editors, usually several that you go through. So, I'll keep you guys up to date on the progress of that. And that's really the prologue to the Oregon Forensics series. I also do short stories. In a previous episode, you can see on this channel on S.M. Dotson's Strange Tales, but you can also see on Floating Lodge on YouTube. In the previous episode, I read one of my short stories, Room in the Car. And the image you see here on the right there, where my thumb's pointing, that image right there is an illustration I did of a short story that I'm submitting to a literary journal. It's called The Devil's Pipe. I'll blow it up a little bit so you can see it. expand it here. You see a little pipe below. This isn't the official images. It's just something I'm using as a background illustration. You see in the smoke, you see various faces of the damned. So I won't really read that particular story right now, because if it appears in a literary journal, they're going to want first publishing rights and that sort of thing. So I'm holding off on that. More updates to come. I'm also working on a project where I'm illustrating a book of haiku. I have 30 illustrations, and they're really 30 tarot cards, 1 through 30, and they involve the progress of these various haiku and go along with various haiku that the blind poet of Sedalia wrote, James Bryant. And here's a promo for that. And here we go.
Inside a black hole, a planet pained, painful, galaxies of tears.
That's James Bryant's Dark Haiku Book 1. Coming out soon. Looking forward to that. I'll let you guys see some more illustrations in a future episode. But let's carry on. Exorcism and possession. The word of the day is exorcism. We get the word from the Latin. And we're, of course, talking about the Romans here. But the Romans got the word from the Greek. So if we really want to go back super far, we have to look at the Greek etymology of the word. And you really have a combination of two words there in the etymology. You have ex, which often means out of, but when it's combined with the second root word, which means to take an oath, horkos, you are basically saying an exorcism is there's a need to swear an oath or to bind something by an oath. And so the way that translates into modern exorcisms or even medieval exorcisms is that you're making certain sacred oaths. You're really just reading verses from the Bible, Psalms 91, I believe it is, that is often recited, especially in Hebrew practices. But they're really just official scripture, oftentimes. That's how that's expressed, the exorcism ritual. So, kind of interesting. The word of the day is exorcism. Exorcism actually comes from the Latin exorcismus, and the Greek word is exorcismos. Very, very slight difference in the word. I think that's interesting. You actually see the Romans, a lot of their technical jargon is actually Greek. You know, the Romans hired Greeks to do a lot of administration and building and sort of technical things in their own society. So Romans heavily borrowed from the Greeks, even though they didn't always like to admit it. But some of them were great fans. The root word that comes from Greek is not spelled, but pronounced horkos. Horkos, which just means an oath. On the topic of exorcism, of course, I've already mentioned when I was 13 I watched that movie, which is really one of my favorite dark/suspense horror movies. I've got several movies. Of course, I'm going to show the trailer for in the 1970s release of The Exorcist. I'm going to show the trailer for that. It's nice to look back and reminisce. What were your first experiences watching The Exorcist? Do you have any special stories or reminiscence of when you first saw the film? It doesn't have to be, of course, if you saw it in theaters, because I did not. When I was 13, the film was already more than a decade old. But yeah, the film is one of my favorites. I think in terms of like suspense, dark, occult films, It's The Exorcist. It's Omen. I like quite a bit. I like The Omen. I also like Rosemary's Baby. Quite fond of that film. My favorite, another Roman Polanski, is The Ninth Gate. And I know a lot of people, there's really no horror involved, and a lot of people kind of have a hard time getting into that soft occult vibe. But that's really one of my favorite all-time films is The Ninth Gate. But anyway, despite the reputation of the director. But anyway, here we go. Without further ado, let's look at the 1970s release of The Exorcist. Just a short trailer.
Something beyond comprehension is happening to a little girl on this street, in this house. A man has been sent for as a last resort to try and save her.
Good times, great oldies. With that, blah, 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 blah. Speaking in tongues, but that's a further episode. That's a future episode. I did actually go to a couple churches where they speak in tongues. We'll talk about that some other time, but on to possession and exorcism. Now, I asked you guys, what were your experiences the first time you watched The Exorcist? But if you have any experiences with possession or an exorcism, feel free to mention that in the comment section. That'd be just dandy. I found a short film titled The Cultural Impact of The Exorcist. So in the 1970s, there's just what it said, a great interesting cultural impact. You actually see a rise in reported or alleged cases of possession. But the film had quite a popular mainstream ripple effect to it. And so let's watch this short little documentary on the cultural impact of the 1970s release of The Exorcist. Here we go.
On December 26, 1973, in 24 selected engagements in the United States, William Peter Blatty's The Exorcist, directed by William Friedkin, opened. From the novel that had long been on the bestseller lists and directed by the man who had brought the French Connection to the screen, The Exorcist had long been awaited, widely speculated upon, and anxiously anticipated. But no one, no matter how close or deeply involved in the film, could possibly have anticipated what was to happen at every theater where this film played.
This is the second time we've seen it. It's terrific.
As many as I can possibly go. I love it.
Try it, you'll like it. Well, we drove 100 miles, so I hope so.
Fantastic movie.
It's really gross.
It was really terrific.
I want to see if it's going to make me throw up.
The Exorcist scored the biggest opening day gross for a single theater in the history of Los Angeles motion picture houses, and broke established records in every other theater where it opened across the country. In record-breaking, coast-to-coast first-week grosses, The Exorcist brought in almost $2 million at 24 theaters. In 6 days, The Exorcist surpassed all previous box office records at 3 theaters in New York. At Los Angeles, 2 more theaters were open. In Chicago, the pattern was the same, and the dimensions of the Exorcist experience broke on the motion picture world with an impact rivaled only by the audiences that continue to pour into all these theaters. It was, of course, first evident to the theater managers that The Exorcist was no longer just the most successful motion picture in film history, but had become an unquestioned sociological phenomenon, breaking out of the theater pages and television reviewers' hands to the city desk, the front page, and hard news on telecast from coast to coast.
I'm Harry Francis, manager of the National Theater here in Westwood. I've been in this business 40 years now, and I have never gone through anything like this. It's exciting. Public love it. Had crowds that you can't believe. We've hired 20 security guards to control the crowds. We're getting young people, old people, you name it, we get anyone. Last week in the rain, they stood as it was the sun today. Mr. Freakin and Mr. Blatty felt sorry for the people. They hired caterers. They give out 3,000 cups of coffee each night, a total of 6,000. The public thought it was great.
My name is Randy Robbins, the assistant manager at the National Theater. We've had uncontrollable crowds, and to try and alleviate some of the problems of people not getting tickets that have been waiting long periods of time in line, we started a system of giving out coupons. Nobody gets a ticket without a coupon, and the way they get them is just by taking a place in line, waiting from 3 to 5.5 hours, and then purchasing their ticket with it. Only 1 coupon is given per person, and they can't buy a ticket without it, regardless. So what we do, right now it's 4 o'clock, we're giving out coupons for the 8 o'clock show, which will guarantee them a seat, so they won't have to worry about whether they'll be getting in or whether they won't be getting in.
My name is Donna Yearwood. I'm a cashier here at the National Theater in Westwood. We are showing The Exorcist right now, and it's absolutely fantastic. We have people coming. This morning they were standing in line at 4:30 in the morning for the 10:30 show, and we've just had sellouts every day. About 2 hours before the performance even begins, we've already got enough people in line to sell out the theater, and they remain in line, and people who know they won't get into that show will go to the end of the line and wait for the next show. Sometimes we'll have our 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and the midnight show sold out before 6 by the people that are standing in line. And they'll stand in line in the rain, they'll stand in line under all kinds of conditions, and they all seem to just really enjoy it when they come in. We've never had anyone complain about the wait being too long for the kind of movie it was. Everyone just really felt it was great. And sometimes even they stand in line for 5 and 7 hours. We've heard some of the people say they've been standing in line that long, and they'll come in and they won't be able to watch the whole movie because it's just too much for them, and they'll come out after about an hour, but they don't complain about standing in line.
I don't like it. I want to go home. Makes my heart beat too fast.
I don't know, it doesn't bother me that much. But I guess it bothered her more than it bothered me.
This is the second time we've seen it. We still can't hack it. No. Why was that? I'm not going back in there.
All the people are pretty good about it. We've had to have a lot, as long as we have a lot of help, then we can help the people as fast as we can. And they don't mind too much. They stand forever.
My name is Jamie Spin.
Oh, my name is Karen Howard.
My name is Robin Ellison.
We work here answering telephones and
fixing popcorn and drinks. We get crowded. Yeah, when they first let everybody in, everybody runs, and they're like a stampede, and they scream like there's riot going on.
doors, please. Move down to the door.
Just the other night, this guy came out, and I looked out the door, and he was lying on the floor. He's really big. You wouldn't have expected. I know. All these big guys, they come out, and they look like they're ghosts or something. And they ask for smelling salts and everything. It's not the kind of people you'd expect to faint. Yeah.
It didn't scare me. I don't know what happened. I just fainted. It was frightening.
My experience with this movie has been incredible, especially with people fainting. Halfway through the movie, the movie starts getting quite violent, and people get quite unusual reactions, and we have a lot of people throwing up and a lot of people shuddering. But the thing that really surprises me is people faint. I mean, I've never in my life known a movie where people would faint. I mean, it's hard to make people faint.
If she ain't out, she is.
Well, as soon as they faint, I get out the smelling salts, and we have two kinds. We have a little bottle with smelling salts, and I uncap it, and I hold it under their nose, and they come to, or else we have the little pellets, and I break them, and then they come to. And most of them, once they fainted, they don't go back into the picture.
The crowds were so intense at all the theaters that they became a police concern. Uniformed guards were hired in all instances to keep thoroughfares clear and prevent violation of the lines.
A more orderly line. You're blocking the sidewalk.
It's something I never saw in my whole entire life. This is something different. And I went to a lot of movies, but I never seen nothing like this one myself.
Hey, look at please. Move this way. Theater's upstairs. Ticket, please. Theater's upstairs. All the way down. All the way down here, please. Please keep your line in. He will get your ticket. Please moving back in. Move back in here, please. Please move in. He won't get your picture.
Right, we came yesterday for the 3:45 showing, and then we came back again for the night one, and we stood in line, but nothing. We didn't get in, so we wanted to come back again today. She turned her head around.
Oh my God. It's probably the grossest thing I've ever seen.
Oh, it's weird.
She turned her head around.
So why don't you just step out so you get that?
She turned her head around.
It's not that bad.
God, I was so scared when the bed was shaking and like her back.
She's going up and down.
And then when her voice changed, my God, I've never seen anything like it.
Did you see the part where she turns her head around?
Not yet. I'm not gonna see it either.
It's gross. I tell you that. Yeah? That is one of the most grossest movies in the world. It is. I ain't never took my coat and hit it over my face like that. Seriously, man.
It really was.
Seriously.
It was a good movie, but it was really bad.
I tell everybody go see it.
All the major networks covered the Exorcist phenomenon in hard news stories.
David Sheehan is with us tonight to talk about a movie that has people passing out in the lobby on their way in or on their way out, David.
Well, you've heard about all those reports about The Exorcist and the trouble it's causing, people fainting and so forth. I went to check it out. The manager of the National Theater in Westwood says that there indeed are at least a dozen people who faint or become ill during every showing. But The Exorcist is still drawing sellout houses for every performance, complete with lines around the block. I spent an evening in the lobby just to see if people really do come stumbling out in the middle of the picture, as reported. They did, so I asked them why.
It just scared me to death. Things just like this, really scared me to death. I'm just nervous.
Do you remember what particular scene it was that...
When she was in, what was it? When she was in a room, the doctors came in, and I guess it was when she was talking to Devil's voice. Oh, God, I can't believe it.
Keep away! The sour is mine!
Are you going to go back in and see more of the movie now?
Probably, yeah.
What are you going to do right now?
I don't want to see it, but my curiosity's killing me. I have to see it.
I fainted like 10 minutes after the first beginning of the movie. And I walked out, and they gave me some water.
I passed out in about the first half hour, yeah.
Do you remember what it was, what scene it was that affected you so much?
Convulsions, when she took convulsions. Because I have a little girl, and it was like watching my little girl. I think it's disgusting.
Why?
I don't know, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make me want to get sick like everybody says. It just, my legs are just going, nyeh, and I want to go in the lobby and not watch it, and I have to cover my ears.
What was it that made that happen?
Just when she started talking like devil coming out of her. Bleh.
How about you?
I can't even describe it. It's so horrible. It just... I don't know why I waited 4 hours to see that.
The devil made her did it, I bet. The fact that people do wait 4 hours in line and then go back in to see more after they've fainted or gotten sick, I guess it shows how far some people will go for the thrill of being chilled to the bone. And judging from my long night in the lobby, the people most susceptible to being profoundly upset by the film are those who went in believing in the devil, Roman Catholics especially. As a matter of fact, the Pope himself is being quoted as part of the film's publicity campaign. Demonology, he said, is an important part of Catholic doctrine that really ought to be studied again. And on that level, some psychiatrists are calling The Exorcist a dangerous movie because it does give credibility to a variety of superstitions, including the devil myth and the power of ritual. So it may be true to some, The Exorcist might be dangerously convincing. To me, The Exorcist is nothing more than a fantastically well-made and very shocking chiller, or thriller, if you prefer.
KABC TV in Westwood.
It's frightening.
Do you think she'll go back in?
I don't know. I have a friend in there alone, and I don't want to leave her in there alone. So I probably will. But it's just, it's incredibly frightening.
As well as hard news coverage on local television stations. From San Francisco.
Triggered by the compelling story of The Exorcist. It focuses on an adolescent girl possessed by the devil, and the ghoulish horror which results has been captured in one of the most shocking films in years. And the crowds love it. They wait outside the North Point Theater through 2 or more performances to get in. One close estimate figures 100,000 people have seen The Exorcist since it opened 4 weeks ago.
Atlanta.
Excuse me, but the 7:50 feature is just sold out. If you want to wait for the 10 o'clock feature, tickets go on sale at 8:30.
Has anyone said to you, don't go see The Exorcist?
Many.
Why?
Scary.
Well, I hope that the game goes well. Did you just bring cards, by the way, or is it something that you planned ahead of time? Or did you go out and buy them?
We planned ahead of time to bring them because we heard about the long lines.
Well, I hope when you get in finally to see The Exorcist that you do enjoy it and that you don't get too frightened and have to return to the card game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Why do you believe that The Exorcist is worth such a long wait?
Well, I've read the book, and I'm just more curious than anything else, I guess.
Well, have you heard any discouraging things about the film?
Yes, I have debated on whether or not to come, really, but my curiosity got the better of me.
St. Louis.
I wouldn't advise it for children. It's very mind-impressing, though. It's good. It's very good.
Do you believe in it?
Well, I'm a Catholic. It makes me want to go and go to church. I thought it was excellent. I really did. I thought it was very good.
Did you believe it could happen?
Oh, yes. Anything's possible.
Possession by the devil?
Well, I'm not saying it has happened, but I'm not saying it hasn't either.
Detroit.
Yeah, the part where she started spitting all the green stuff and, ugh.
Are you going to go back in as soon as you compose yourself?
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't have to look anymore, though.
You've walked out of the movie 3 times?
Yeah, 3.
On 3 different occasions?
Yeah.
You work here, so you've seen the movie several times. You're tried to, right?
I tried to, right.
And you still haven't seen it all the way through.
No.
What keeps hanging you up?
Movies.
Philadelphia.
How did you like The Exorcist?
I didn't like it.
Why didn't you like it?
Afraid of it.
It was really scary. It was a really good movie, but it was really scary. I would want to see it a second time.
It was a very different picture, and it takes you way out. And I wouldn't want to see it again. A person the author had to be part of the devil himself to think of such ideas.
My nerves are shot.
The Pittsburgh Press headlined The Exorcist, an experience in hysteria for some viewers, saying there were 1,300 standing in sub-freezing weather for hours at a time. The Boston Globe insisted that The Exorcist is not for the faint-hearted. About 5,000 people daily are getting a dose of psychic horror. The Los Angeles Times reports The Exorcist causing fainting and fleeing. Some trembled, others sought the privacy of restrooms. Majority stared into space. The St. Louis Post-Dispatch says suburbs showing The Exorcist aroused by traffic congestion. The San Francisco Chronicle headlines their story, Weird Goings-On. The Milwaukee Journal blared, fans line up to have stomachs turned. In Toronto, the Star gives a whole page to The Exorcist on one day with news photos of crowds lined up in freezing temperatures and a report that the picture is keeping the ambulances busy. And finally, cartoonist Conrad reinterpreted the basic advertising art for The Exorcist as a political suggestion. The New York Times said the United States is going to the devil. Later, the New York Times devoted a section front-page headline to speculation on the cause of the Exorcist phenomenon, and a full inside page in that same section on the people waiting in line. On major radio networks and on local television throughout the country, psychiatrists and priests queried the makers of the film and each other on the meaning of its public impact.
I must confess that there were times when I had to force myself to look at the screen.
Why?
First of all, I knew what was coming because I had read the book, and secondly, because it is a subject matter which obviously is, well, let's put it this way, it seems to me that it touches very deep areas of the human personality. And unless one is very insensitive, I can't imagine anyone either reading the book or seeing the movie without it having some reaction on them.
The Exorcist is with us now. The movie made from William Blatty's book. It may well prove to be more than just a volume or a show. It may well be remembered as one of the phenomena of the 70s. It seems that Chicago, like ancient Gaul, is today a city divided into three parts. Those who have not yet seen the movie, those who have seen it and want to talk about it, and those who have seen it and don't want to talk about it. I'm here in Hollywood today talking with the two men who are responsible for the remarkable success of The Exorcist, and they are author William Blatty and director of the film William Friedkin. Did you realize when you began all this that you're going to have such a phenomenon, or were you just trying to make a decent, honest living?
I was quite confident, just looking at the dailies, that it was going to be quite a phenomenon. Perhaps not to this extent, but I was convinced when I saw the very first rough cut on a moviola that Billy had put together that I quite frankly believed it was a film masterpiece, and I do.
Interesting now. See, he uses the same phrase that I do, Bill. He calls it a film masterpiece, and I admit this. I have some questions about its contribution to theology and religion, but as to say it's not one of the greatest entertainments we've ever seen, we can't deny that at all. But do you think that you're really making a contribution, say, to religion and to the understanding of theology?
Leaders of the religious community are naturally curious and often controversial on the subject of this film, which included among its technical advisors 3 Jesuits, 2 of whom also played parts in the film. The medical and psychiatric community has shown a similar interest in discussion of the film, its meaning, and the significant response of the public. There are 3 doctors of medicine credited as technical advisors in the main title. As this film report is finished, the news on the streets in front of the theater, on television, radio, and in the newspapers continues. The United States is astonished by the Exorcist experience. Soon, we expect the rest of the world will join them.
Yes. Yes. Wow. People in the 1970s were not prepared for The Exorcist. Not at all. many people passing out. Interesting. Very interesting. So right now, I'm actually going to move into Gothic fiction. I'm going to read an excerpt from Possessions of Putrescence, where there is a possession taking place. So maybe reminiscent of The Exorcist, but with a twist in that the exorcist Martin Salzberg does not actually believe that those that are possessed have a demon, but instead have a ghost, a wandering soul, often confused, not remembering how they died or having died under dire circumstances. So here we have from Chapter 2 of Possessions of Putrescence, not yet out. Possessions of Putrescence from Chapter 2. The exorcist noticed the usual symptoms of possession. Coldness, sound deadened in the air, and suffocated light formed a tight sphere around its source. A scent like that left over from a lightning strike permeated the air. Goosebumps formed in the tingle of something unseen. The confused foreign spirit flailed about in 12-year-old Sachet's body. The mother said the girl's name, but the child let out a scream and undulated as if she tried to lurch forward. But only her spine obeyed, demanding, "That is not my name." The girl strained against the bedsheets tied around her wrists and ankles, securing her to the bedposts. The parents prayed aloud, ignoring the pleading words coming from Sachet's possessed body. In their defense, much of it made little sense. "The ritual began shortly," Martin said near the mother's ear. "You may now exit the room." When they left, Martin spoke to the possessed child, violating the strict exorcist code, which forbade speaking to the spirit directly, a punishable offense known as entertaining the demon. In Martin's opinion, the code stunted the growth of the field of exorcism and made the experience much more difficult for everyone involved. It allowed religious institutions to maintain a monopoly over possession, to keep it demonized, so to speak. Some theologians, under the spiritual strain of modernity, theorize that exorcism is the one church practice to hinder the progress of secularization more than any other religious service to the community. It was the eighth sacrament. The possessed girl, Sachet, breathed heavily through her cloth gag. She struck Martin with a dubious sideward glance. "Well, hello, friend," said Martin to the spirit inhabiting the little girl. "What is your name?" The possessed girl flinched at the question, mumbled incoherently, and finally said, "Where am I?" Her voice trembled as vapor billowed from her mouth into the cold room. Martin noticed the spirit inside Sachet spoke in a High German dialect. When alive, the ghost probably came from somewhere in the south, the exorcist reasoned. No worries, replied Martin in a calm, almost aloof voice. You are stuck in someone else's body, but your discomfort won't tarry a moment past dawn. Martin took the small notebook from his pocket. Might you tell me your name? My name? The spirit seemed confused by the question. The two sat in silence for a moment. I'm Frida, the spirit finally said, as if she suddenly remembered after a great effort. How did I get in here? It happens, darling. Not sure how. I'm Martin, a doctor. What is your last name, Frida? Last name? My name is Frida Koenig, she said. Can you help me, doctor? Yes, you will be safe, Frida. I've done this before. It always works out. Tell me a little about your family, my dear. Sachet's body became calmer, less erratic breathing, and fewer sudden movements. Oh, let me think, the ghost of Frida Koenig said through the lips of the young girl. Gilda, my youngest daughter, and I came to Putressa after Filbert died. Herman and Gaster died fighting for the Sun King before that. What was the last thing you remember? Asked Martin Salzburg. I went blind from the fever, but I can see again. Am I still sick, doctor? You're no longer sick, Frida. You are at peace, waiting for the Lord to return. The only hiccup is that your soul woke up early and is stuck in the body of a little girl, Sachet. Oh dear, will she be fine? Asked the ghost of Frida. That is such a pretty name. Yes, said Martin. She'll wake up in the morning ready for her lessons, and Easter is the Sunday. That's nice, Frida said. Her words sounded genuinely relieved. My apologies for all the fuss. No need, said Martin. It was an accident. Will I be in heaven soon? Frida asked, as her voice began to fade. Before you know it, Frida, Martin said in hushed tones, and goodness will reign forever. A small tear swelled and fell across her temple. The ghost of Frida left the girl. Light leapt into the room from the burning candle, and with it, a feeling of warmth returned. The exorcist pulled out a small notebook and wrote the name of the ghost in a few shorthand symbols indicating the circumstances and outcome from the Suke therapy. Martin looked up at the girl. Sachet lightly snored with dawn still hours away. Martin snuffed the candle on her dresser with a clapperless bell and quietly exited the room. And that's the end of my excerpt from Possessions of Putressa. Thanks for checking that out. I'm almost finished writing that novel, and that's the first scene that the reader really gets an idea that this book is about possession, and that Martin is a little bit different than other Christian exorcists. He doesn't believe it's a demon at all. He believes that they're ghosts. And what's interesting is that many religions all over the world believe the same thing, that possession isn't a demon. They don't believe that sometimes these are malignant spirits, of course, but they're not necessarily demons. And so there's a view, the view of Martin Salzberg is that Christians demonize the ghost, the demonization of ghosts, as he called it. And that's the basic idea, the fundamental idea behind the story. And it goes on from there and approaches other occult and mystical themes. Yeah, we'll talk more about that story at some other time. But now let's move away from Christianity and let's go toward those religions I've been speaking about who do not believe that when someone is possessed that it's a demon, although they believe it might be a disgruntled or evil spirit. They don't necessarily believe that it's some great evil force so much as it's a old ghost, perhaps a new ghost, but oftentimes a ghost who is still angry about something that happened, or perhaps they don't have a final resting place and they need to be reburied. There are very many ways to diagnose someone who's possessed and how to appease that spirit. And that's just the thing. That's different than Christianity. An exorcist from another religion might try to appease the spirit, whereas a Christian in no way wants to appease what they think or what they call as a demon. So this first clip, great clip of a shaman from Thailand. This shaman from Thailand and this culture in general approach exorcism much differently. It's more of a collective effort. There are many people involved, not just adults and trained priests. But what you're going to see is something very, very interesting. This was filmed in 1974, and what's interesting about that is that's the same year The Exorcist came out. This was filmed in Thailand by Gary Seaman. Basically what's happening is there's a possessed child, human, and this often manifests in behavioral issues or diseases of the body. And a priest comes and they want to get rid of this spirit, but they believe it's a spirit of a ghost. And so in this ritual, there is a small, you'll notice a small chair. A chair looks like a child's chair, way too small for a normal human. And they're waving this chair around. And what they're doing is they're trying to get this ghost to leave the human and move into this decorated ritual chair. So they're actually creating this ritual to get the ghost to move from the human to this sort of temporary shrine. And they take this chair to a countryside shrine, and they perform the ritual again in a slightly different way with incense and shaking the chair. And they get this ghost to move to the shrine as if it's some sort of final release. And I'm describing this simply because there's no audio to this old video. So check this out. It's not a demon. It's a spirit that needs to be appeased to these Thai shamans, these Thai priests. And here's a clip from 1974. They've dug up the bones of the deceased, and what they're doing now is they're taking clay and they're building basically a golem. They're building a humanoid creature out of the clay and inserting the bone into it. This is appeasing the ghost that they have exorcised. And they put it on the ritual chair. They dug up the bones of the deceased, and now they're building a clay golem. If you don't know what a golem is, Golem, I'll talk about that on a later show, but it generally is in Jewish mysticism, where you use a substance, often clay, to form a human-like creature, and you bring it to life, basically. And they're constructing something very similar to the golem.
humanity of it all.
The humanities of it all, with Professor Mooney D.
It's the only show I listen to, Darinty. Would you be with Derry and put the kettle on?
What's up, Kansas City? What's up, Kansas City? Oh! Ooh, ooh, ooh. Kansas City. How you doing, Kansas City? When I was little, initially I wanted to be a black trash man. And then when I got a little bit older, around age 12 or 13, I really wanted to be an exorcist. Like, I saw the movie The Exorcist, and any exorcist here tonight? No? Okay. But I do have a story. I went to grad school for history, and a friend that was there at the time became a Catholic priest, and he became an exorcist himself. There was a particular case he was having trouble with, and Jeff calls me up, and he just, holy water had no effect, the crucifix had no effect, the name of Christ had no effect on this demon. So he was fairly vexed, and I actually drove up to St. Louis to see the girl who was possessed. And this is not the first time I've seen someone who's claimed to be possessed, and this demon was very interesting in that it seemed very lucid. In other words, some demons can't control their host very well. Say they don't have total possession of the human host, right? And they have to struggle to move the body and speak, you know? And this is what people think about when they think of demon possession, right? They think of sort of a gravelly voice and, you know, like there are body movements, that are just kind of jerky. Well, that's the demon trying to possess. You know, the demons don't actually move like that. That's just the whole idea of possession, is the demon can't fully control the body. But this demon seemed to have full control of the body and didn't have sort of awkward idiosyncrasies about him. You know, he just seemed to be able to have a normal conversation. And that was very off-putting. So I noticed really quickly this was a different demon than what I've seen. You know, and priests are often trained under the assumption that, you know, the violent movements and the raspy voice of those possessed are because of the demon has like a vile nature. And this demon possession case really, you know, I quickly figure out this wasn't the case at all. The sounds and gestures are a byproduct of the possession, not the actual demon itself. So when a Catholic priest confronts a demon-possessed person, what's the first thing they do, sir? What is the first thing that a Catholic priest does when you watch like one on the movies? You know, what's the first thing a Catholic priest does to someone who's possessed by a demon? You know, and the demon's throwing out all these curse words and everything. What do? Yeah, they pull out their cross, their crucifix, right? What else? Holy water. Yeah, they splash holy water in their face. Yeah, they get excited and they start reciting memorized crap. They throw water on the poor possessed person. You know, it starts to sizzle on their forehead, which is very uncomfortable, I'm sure. You know, and then they shove their neck ornament in its face, you know, the crucifix. And so what do? They end up totally blocking off civil conversation with the demon, right? Based on their own assumptions. Based on, I mean, back a long time ago, if somebody, you know, had a certain, you know, they have Tourette's syndrome or something, they might think they were possessed by a demon, or think that person is just revealing their true nature or what have you. But now we know it's an actual thing. Has to do with the brain, you know, and we can recognize it for what it is. And so it's the same with Catholicism and demon possession. They just block off all civil conversation with those entities. I mean, you ever ask, like, what do you want? Can I get you something? Hey, how are you? Can I help you in any way since you took all this trouble to try to communicate through this human's body? I mean, you must have something really important to say. Yeah, they never do that, do they? My priest friend, he had to leave. I wanted to stay and sit with the girl for a little while, you know, so I was just a sitter. And a nurse was there. She checked in about twice an hour. I sat there for a long time just thinking. At first I thought, why is Jeff bringing me in on this? You know, he knows I'm an atheist. I was started to get sort of like the assumption that Jeff was maybe trying to convert me, you know, by like, hey, here's a unusual case. It's hard to explain. It must be a real demon possession, so therefore, you know, believe in God, right? I don't think this will work, though, because, you know, the fact that I had no assumptions helped me out in this case. So after a couple hours, I was just sitting there eating some powdered donuts, drinking my coffee, and finally the girl sat up and spoke directly to me. And this is what she said.
Where did that fucking priest go?
I didn't say anything at first, then it spoke again.
I know there's someone else here. Can't you fucking speak? Are you fucking terrified and shitting yourself?
I didn't want to be rude, so I said, hi.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Mooney.
Oh, are you another fucking priest, asshole?
Oh, no, I'm not a priest. I'm not even a Christian, actually.
So what the fuck are you here for?
Oh, I'm actually good friends with your exorcist.
Your friend is an asshole.
Well, sorry. I mean, is there anything I can do for you? You seem to be under some stress.
Finally, someone who's willing to listen. Hey, I have an idea for a stand-up comedy routine. I need someone to write this shit down.
I didn't know what to think at first, but I pulled out my laptop and started writing. Flibvostakarikos, the name of the demon, rattled off about 2 hours worth of comedy material. I recognized some of the words from my priest friend's recount of some of the filthy things he was saying about Ian McClellan and leaning into hand jobs and other filth. But they were just jokes. Flibvostakarikos was just trying to get his jokes out there. But the Catholic Church is there every time, and they keep them from spreading anything. This Flibvostakarikos just had a comedy routine he'd been working on, and he wanted to get it out there. That's all. So I wrote down the jokes, and by the time my friend Jeff got back, the demon was totally gone, and the girl was perfectly fine. Jeff asked how I got rid of the demon. I said I just agreed that with the demon that you're an asshole for treating him like shit, and then he left. Guess he took credit at the Elks Lodge after party. That's right, the priest and the Catholic Church. Of course they wouldn't want to admit what really happened. An atheist outperforms an ordained priest and an exorcism? Ha!
All right, that was it for me. Thanks, Kansas City. This is Mooney D. Later.
Ladies and gentlemen, Worm Dirt.
Ready, Jimmy? Private supper is none other than going home. And what I reckon is of all grace to our Father, art in heaven, who works his callous hands on the cornfields of dusty Kansas, The cows have a soul lick, I have my guitar pick, and I ain't Johnny, who found the socks that were blown off in a Dust Bowl storm sometime in 1931.
USA Nationalism presents Celebrity Voices of Nationalism. President Donald Trump.
I just wanted to tell everyone, thank you for the support. We got rid of all the Muslims.
Reverend Jesse Jackson.
I've never supported apartheid, but this current predicamentation brought on by the evils of Islam is perpetuated by their own indignity.
Martha Stewart.
Hello, I'm Martha Stewart. I've put together a special nationalistic Thanksgiving package. Simply boil the bags and serve. Go America.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah, this is Mike Tyson, and I support all people who like Muhammad Ali but hate Muhammad, the Prophet. Support me, I'm Mike Tyson. I'll punch you in the face if you're Islamic.
Former President Obama.
Former President Obama. We should think about not totally killing Muslims.
Truman Capote.
Hi, I'm Truman Capote. One thing you don't know about me, I'm fiercely patriotic. Get me on the end of a gun and watch me go.
International student from China.
Hello, I'm an imported student from China. I'm not Muslim. You won't kill me, will you?
Mike Tyson.
Hey, Mike Tyson. You're a really cute little Chinese girl. I'll protect you, long as you're not Muslim.
International student from China.
Oh, no. I said I'm not Muslim.
Mike Tyson.
Okay, I'll protect you. Come here. I'll protect you real good with my fists. Don't let me accidentally hit you, though. It'll be your fault, though, if you do.
Martha Stewart.
This is Martha Stewart. Today we're going to feature a cornucopia of Christian themes and a cornucopia of Muslims in hell.
Don Knotts.
Oh, come on, Andy. Let me shoot him in the head. I'm getting out of here.
Ponder this. Ponder this.
Ponder this. Do the dregs come from mothers with deviled eggs? Lawnmower Symphony. Sounds like one big layer. A continuous mow job until night, the delayer. Sleep now, tall socks. Off with you, grass slayer. Winter saw the summer plummet. We call this the fall. Hidden junkie, sleeping dragon. This might explain the wagon your lover has become. A chicken dilettante, one of those who never made it to the other side of the road. Anxiety spurts when the mind thinks of finishing on time. Discipline can never live up to genius unless your genius is meager. She left one superstition, calls it a lie. She ran to another mission, now stares at the sky. I wonder if sorcerers have science envy. Ponder this.
Ponder this.
Ponder this.
The humanity of it all.
The humanities of it all with Professor Mooney D.
It's the only show I listen to during tea. Would you be with dairy and put the kettle on?
Mr. Defensive and the Demon. Fuck you, and fuck your birthday party.
Hey, there's something I've been wanting to talk to you about. Now, listen really close. Don't interrupt me, okay? But I want you to respond to this, but don't interrupt me in the middle of it and become defensive, okay?
Wait a minute. How do I know when to respond so as not to...
See, you're already doing it.
Well...
You're already becoming defensive, and I haven't even said it yet.
No, wait. No, I want to make sure I followed your direction to the T. How do I know you're done so I can respond?
Well, it's like a normal conversation. When I stop talking, it's time for you to respond. Don't interrupt me, in other words.
Okay, I'm not defensive. Go ahead.
Okay, good.
I won't be defensive.
Okay, I'm going to throw a couple of punches at your face just to make sure you're not defensive, okay?
What, you expect me not to protect myself?
I don't know. Are you defensive?
When I'm being attacked, yes.
Okay, well, you sound pretty defensive right now.
Well, yeah, I'm preparing myself mentally for the physical attack.
See, that's how you become defensive, is you're always preparing for, like, being attacked.
Oh, okay, let's just back up here. Go ahead and ask me your... Ask the question and... Yeah.
It's not a question, it's just something I wanted to point out about you.
Oh, okay, well, point away.
And I feel like you'll just interrupt me and get defensive, so don't be defensive.
Nope, my lips are sealed. Go ahead.
Okay. And I was just gonna, like, punch you in the face or try to kick you in the balls to see if you're still defensive.
What?
See? Just that one sound tells me you're defensive. What?
Well, no, I mean, I thought you were going to tell me something, but then you went on and...
Yeah.
And
see, you're interrupting me again.
Well, because you get ready to attack me, and I'm trying to figure out why you, like, punching me in the balls. You're punching me in the balls. You're not attacking me by punching me in the balls.
I swear to God, you don't even remember things right. I said punch you in the face or kick you in the balls. I'm not going to punch you in the balls. Do you think I'm like a barbarian?
Well, excuse me. Well, I got so, like traumatized by the idea of being punched in the face and kicked in the balls, I forgot the actual order of sequential...
See what I'm saying? Like, I haven't even done it, and you're already defensive about it.
Okay, I promise. I will not interrupt you for any reason at all. Please, proceed.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to point out that you are really shitty.
What?
See, you're already getting defensive, and I haven't even finished my sentence.
Well, I mean, you call me shitty. I mean, how else am I supposed to respond to that? That's hurtful.
I didn't finish my sentence.
Okay. I retract the fact that I was going to interrupt you. I will not interrupt you.
Okay. You sure? You sure you're not going to be defensive?
I feel like I'm going to, regretting my answer, but yes, I'm sure.
Okay. You are shitty. At gymnastics. And I just wanted to point that out. The other day we were playing around and you tried to do a cartwheel and you said, "Hey, look at me, I'm a gymnast." Okay, you can respond now.
Wait, back this truck up.
See, you're defensive.
I don't care. At this point, I need to interject right here. I'm confused. I don't know when to respond. I don't know when to be defensive or not defensive for that matter.
See, you're being defensive. Let's try it again on a totally different subject, okay?
Am I going to be shitty?
Nope.
Okay.
You actually have a chance to redeem yourself.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, I'm ready. Lips are sealed. I'm ready. Go.
Okay. I need to borrow $1,000. Yeah. See, you can be cool about it if you want. You can be the good guy this time. You know what I'm saying?
Wait. Oh, I see. Oh, you're trying to pigeonhole me into this corner, so I have no choice other than...
No, what I'm saying is your defensiveness puts you in the corner, and if you lend me this money, this $1,000, you're going to be free. You're going to be a free pigeon. You're going to be a turtle dove.
Yeah. So I have to give you $1,000 just to redeem myself? Are you fucking kidding me?
I'll pay you back, dude. Come on.
Okay. 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1,000. I don't This doesn't seem right. This doesn't. I feel manipulated.
No, I think you're really cool now, actually.
Really?
Yeah, dude. This changes everything.
So, I'm no longer a shitty gymnast?
Do you want to be a gymnast?
Well, it's something that I've always dreamed about, so yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't know that. That's awesome, dude.
Well, why do you think I got that picture of Mary Lou Retton up on my wall over there?
Oh, I thought you were just into little girls.
I mean, she's an adult, you know.
Now?
What? Just because that was when she was... Okay, here's $1,000. Shall we give you $1,000? Here's another $1,000. Don't tell anybody about that, okay?
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, what?
I feel like we're really close now, man.
Yeah,
I feel like you're really smart, and I don't know, I really value everything you say.
Really, yeah. You're not gonna say anything about the Mary Lou thing, are you?
Nah, man. Of course not. Why would I do that to you? You're the shit, man.
Huh?
You're the shit, you know what I'm saying?
Wait a minute, I'm confused now. You said I'm shitty, but now I'm the shit. Oh, I get it.
Yeah, man. You know what that means? That means that you're like, to me, you're like my best friend.
Yeah, top dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so...
Exactly, dude.
$2,000. You don't say anything about the fact that I have a rather young Mary Lou Retton on the wall here. And we're okay? We're cool?
You are. I don't know if I am. Am I cool?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're going to keep mums about the Mary Lou thing, right?
Oh, yeah. No one's going to care about that, man. It's just a poster.
Yeah, but, it's kind of cute.
Do you need to give me some more money?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like you really feel better if you give me some money. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
If it makes it better, then it makes it better, right?
It's like a rush of endorphins. So here.
Oh, that's cool. All right.
Here's a check. How about we just completely tie this all together in a nice little package here? What do I write into the amount here? 5,000? 10,000?
You don't have 10,000 in your account, do you, man?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah, I've been saving it for 30 years.
Oh, man.
Busted my ass.
Whatever you feel like would make you feel freed up, Whatever would free you up. You like Jesus, right?
Who's that?
Some Jewish guy that lived a long time ago, and he was like, you really want to be happy and go to heaven? Then give away everything to someone like me.
Was that the guy in The Hobbit?
I don't remember. Sounds right.
Yeah, because I thought that guy wrote the book in the 80s or something like that.
Oh. That's why the hair was all long and stuff.
Right. It got twigs in it and stuff. Really disarray. Okay, so here's the deal here. I'll give you my Mary Lou Retton poster and...
No, I don't want that, man.
$50,000. Why not? It was signed by her. Yeah, it was signed by her. She autographed it for me.
All right. Sounds like a good eBay sell. Well, I guess I could take that off your hands. It'll be, I don't know. I'll have to keep it hidden so no one, thinks I'm into that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I really appreciate this donation you're giving to me,
Well, yeah.
I put so much of my own self at stake here. I could lose my job at the gas station. I could be blacklisted from other gas stations.
So, how would you like to sleep with my wife?
I've tried it already.
What?
I have tried it.
Okay, when you say tried, you mean you attempted to do it, but you failed at it?
Yeah.
Or, she turned you down?
No, well, I mean, kinda. I mean, I couldn't get it up, so I guess you could say she turned me down.
You couldn't get it?
Yeah, dude.
She's beautiful. She's a fucking supermodel. You couldn't get it up with her?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you need some more money. You need to go get this checked out. Here's another $50,000. Here. I'll write the check out right here. Here we go.
Well, I think it's because we were doing a bunch of blow at the time. When I do a bunch of blow, with your wife, I can't do anything else. I usually have to watch her do stuff,
Hey, honey, I don't know where she's at. Have you seen my wife? She's like,
Yeah, she says she's avoiding you.
Yeah.
Sucks being rich, I guess, living in a big house.
I can't help to notice, though, that the front of your chest is rippling. Like, there's something underneath it. It's like, what is that? I mean, here, lift your shirt up. Oh my God, it's like a face trying to come out of your chest. It's like, oh God, it's like that episode from The Alien. Dude, are you okay? Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, man, that's my demon.
Oh, so you don't have an inner child, you have an inner demon?
Yeah, he wanted to meet you face to face. He wanted to say something to you.
Oh, let me guess, he wants to borrow some money too.
I don't know. I don't speak for him. You want to talk to him?
No, I gotta put my kid to bed.
Oh, you scared?
What?
You want me to put him away?
Well, away in the sense that I'm putting it to bed.
No, I mean, you want me to, my demon. You want me to button my shirt back up, put the demon away? You're the one who wanted to see it. You thought it was some big rippling pecs, but you saw a demon face instead, so now all of a sudden you're going to put your son to bed.
I didn't want to see it. I just I couldn't help but not to see it. It was like, just there. And then my son needs to go to bed, so I needed to, do my parental duty here and put my son to bed. But if my wife was around, she could do it. Honey, where are you?
Oh, I'll do it.
Honey!
I'll do it for you.
No, I don't trust you, man.
Oh, man, the demon is really good at singing children to sleep.
No, I mean, if you were going to actually take my Mary Lou Retton poster, then I don't trust you around my son.
See, I figured that would look bad. That's why I said keep the poster.
Yeah, but then I would look bad.
Yeah, but that's why you paid me to take the poster, so why should you look down on me? I'm the one who took your money.
Yeah, but I gave you the money so I could absolve myself of, what could potentially be deadly reputation,
Oh, yeah. That's fine then. Yeah. You've been treating me a lot different since you found out I had a demon.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just want to watch what I say and step lightly, because I don't know if that demon is a nice person or a bad person or...
Sounds like you've heard a bunch of stereotypes, Kind of like people who are racist,
What? I mean, are you saying that if I don't like your demon, I'm somehow racist?
Well, you don't even know my demon, and you're already assuming all these things based on your general impression of demons.
Well, I mean, I read the Bible, and the Bible says, all this stuff about demons is pretty bad, and you're supposed to believe in the Bible, right? So I believe in the Bible, so if the Bible says it's bad, then it's bad, so I stay away from it.
Well, the Bible discriminates against demons, like it discriminates against homosexuals and, women having power in the family, and...
Yeah.
It's okay with slavery and prostitutes, though.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I know, we all know, where discrimination began. It began right in that so-called holy book.
That's what the demon's been telling me.
Yeah, but see, then there's some discrepancies there, because in the Bible, apparently, you're not supposed to hear, rather, you're not supposed to listen to demons, because they'll lead you astray. They'll lead you away from the light of God.
Yeah, but they got the idea of the demon from the ancient Greeks, and every ancient Greek thought they had a demon, which was their higher self.
Yeah.
Trust me, the Bible is just one slanted view.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you, but it's been around for so long. I mean, there's got to be something right about it,
Yeah, but there's stuff that is a lot older that has other interpretations of demons.
Oh, yeah, you're referring to, what, the Old Testament?
Yes, but, they didn't go on and on about demons like the New Testament did. They're just fallen angels.
Hey, honey, where are you? I really need to call the police. My wife...
Hey, where'd my demon go? My demon's gone. Hey, look at my chest. His face is totally gone. My normal chest is there.
Your normal chest is there?
Yeah, my normal-looking chest without the demon face in it.
Yeah, even your breasts are gone. How'd that happen?
That's part of the demon face. It has a titty on each side.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking outlandishly wild and wicked.
Oh, okay.
So wait a minute. I sense a coincidence here. There's like, my wife is missing, and then all of a sudden your demon.
Yeah, and my demon
yeah.
is missing. Ah, shit.
What?
I think my demon has a thing for your wife.
What?
Yeah, and if she gets pregnant, it only takes 24 hours to give birth to a demon baby.
Wait a minute. I thought the demon was well aware. Thou shalt not covet. What was that? Your neighbor's wife or something?
Yeah, I guess that doesn't apply to demons though.
Oh man. Oh man. I gotta call the cops. Hello, cops. My wife is missing, and I believe she was abducted by a demon. No, I've not been drinking. No, I'm serious. My wife is missing, and she's been inducted to the Hall of Fame. Yes.
Hey, Jerry, my demon's back.
Oh, it's back. Never mind. Have a nice day. Okay, where's my wife? Hey, demon, where's my wife?
I thought you didn't want to talk to me. What do you have to say to me?
Give me my wife back, please.
I don't have your wife.
But you don't?
I was just with your wife, though.
Was she any good?
What do you mean?
Well, was she good?
Was she well-mannered?
Just spit it out, man. Tell the demon head what you're trying to say. He doesn't understand your metaphors.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, he probably used a very archaic language and symbolism and stuff like that. Okay, demon, how do I address you? A demon or just Mephistopheles or the Jizzlebug or what?
Those are specific names of specific demons, dude.
Okay, how about I'll call you Roger. Okay, hey Roger, did you bang my wife?
How dare you?
What?
We got together to plan your birthday party.
What?
And you accuse me of having sex with your wife just because I'm a demon.
What? Well, I did.
That's racist, sir.
Well, yeah.
That's racist, sir.
Okay.
Fuck you. And fuck your birthday party. Fuck you.
No. Hey.
He's gone,
Joe,
man.
Help me here.
He left. You pretty much pissed him off, dude.
Hey, come on back.
He's really sensitive,
I'm
man.
joking. God damn it.
He wanted to meet you because you're my old friend, and then you treat him like he's some subhuman or something.
Demon? Well, come on. I guess that's why stereotypes are so deadly, because you have a preconceived notion of something.
That's right.
And you're wrong.
That's right, and I think that's a lesson for everyone out there.
It is.
What have you learned today?
What have I learned today?
Yes, what have you learned today?
I have learned that I'm not going to read the Bible anymore.
Exactly. Demon 1, Bible 0.
Have a nice day.
Mr. Defensive and the Demon.
Fuck you, and fuck your birthday party.
Brought to you by Illuminati International.